The most important light in the world is all the light you cannot see. Imagine you are in a chaotic period full of wars, dictatorships, and ambition. What is the most important thing to you? Title? Wealth? Survival? Love? Family? Hi there and welcome back to our channel. Today we will recap the Netflix show titled All the Lights We Cannot See. But before, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. The show opens in 1944 in the German-occupied St Malo city in France. We witness U.S. Air Force's bomb squadron planes flying over the city, dropping explosives on German strongholds. Inside one of the homes in St Malo, we meet Marie-Laure, our blind protagonist, who is trying to get in touch with her missing father Daniel and uncle Etienne with the help of a radio. Suddenly, one of the bombs falls near her home, causing her to fall down. Nevertheless, she gets up and starts reading the book 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne on the radio to make sure that anyone listening to her broadcast enjoys his time. On the other hand, at Hotel Bees, the German surveillance headquarters, we meet Werner, a young German soldier listening to Marie's radio station and enjoying her reading the novel. A colleague of his invites him to take a last drink before their death and reminds him that it is a capital offense to listen to French radio. Werner, however, explains that French radio taught him a lot of unbiased facts around the globe in the past as he used to listen to a professor. But after the war started, the same professor disappeared, and now on the same radio frequency, there is a girl who is reading a novel daily. Werner also points out that death awaits them no matter what. It's either the hands of American bombs or the horrors of Nazi Germany. After this, they make their final preparations to die and say their goodbyes as the bombs fall on their headquarters. Meanwhile, Marie ends her broadcast and realizes that the American planes are now dropping some sort of mail. She picks up the leaflet, but as she is blind, she is unable to read the content. Despite the heavy bombardment by the American forces, Werner makes it out alive uninjured. Following that, we meet Reinhold von Rumpel, a German jeweler who hunts all the finest jewels in Europe and delivers to Hitler. As he sits down and eats at a local restaurant, he asks the waiter to read the leaflet that the Americans are dropping over St Malo. The waiter tells him that the Americans are sending a warning to leave the city. However, they cannot do that as the Germans have locked down the gates of the city. Rumpel asks the waiter about the address of Marie as he thinks that she holds the jewel that is important to him. The waiter refrains from telling him anything, so Rumpel kills him. 10 years ago in Paris, we see Marie and her dad, Daniel, spending some time together. As she is blind, he is seen using a model of the city to show her the way around. Daniel works in the National History Museum and is one of the two who keeps the keys of all the safes. One day, he reveals to her the legend of the Sea of Flames, a fabled gem. He recounts to her the story of the stone, which claims that whoever touches the stone is cursed and their love will suffer a terrible misfortune while the possessor will never die. In the present, Marie feels hungry and has nothing left at home to eat, so she decides to visit a bakery in order to get some bread. At the bakery, she meets with her uncle Etienne, who asks her to read particular chapters from the novel so as to send messages to the Americans. The shopkeeper then informs Marie that a German officer is looking for her in the town, so Etienne asks her to lock the doors at all times. Meanwhile, as Werner fixes his radio, he thinks about his childhood in Germany. 10 years ago, he and his sister used to listen to a professor on the French radio channel, much like Marie in Paris. In the present, the French people ask Werner to open the gates to the city and curse him as he leaves the building. Later at night, Werner meets a senior officer who introduces him to a fellow soldier, Schmidt, who is going to be joining Werner's ranks. As the Americans are bombing German positions with great accuracy, the officer thinks that there is someone releasing coded information. When asked about if he has detected any radio transmissions from inside the city wall, Werner declines any. According to the officer, both Werner and Schmidt attended the National Institute of Berlin. Later during Marie's broadcasting, Schmidt woke up and offers to take the shift. Werner stops him by saying that he knows Schmidt lied about going to the National Institute of Berlin as he was there and never saw him. As his lie is caught by Werner, Schmidt confesses and Werner tries his best to distract him till Marie's broadcast finishes. After a while, Schmidt pulls out his gun on Werner, stating that he knows that someone was broadcasting on the radio earlier. But Werner quickly jumps at him and shoots him down. On the other hand, Marie heads out to an underground tunnel, looking for oysters in order to get rid of her hunger. At this point, Rumpel catches up to her and asks her to spill the beans about the Sea of Flames. Marie assures him that she doesn't know anything about it and that his father told him that Sea of Flames was just an old fable and not a real stone. Rumpel disagrees, and to threaten her, he shoots his gun in the air. Due to the dark tunnel, Marie ambushes Rumpel, but he grabs her and starts shouting at her. Following this, we are transported back to 1940. The German invasion of France coincided with Marie's birthday. After he and her father made their way to the Museum of Natural History, her dad sends the diamonds and jewels, which worth more than half of Paris, to Geneva and carries the Sea of Flames by himself to hide them from the Germans. In the present, Marie manages to hit Rumpel with a rock and escape. Later, Werner's superior finds out about Schmidt's death and Marie's broadcasting. He He then threatens Werner to help him catch the girl or suffer execution. Back in 1940, Werner and his sister were one day visited by a German officer named Seidler. The officer asks Werner to fix his wife's radio and also threatens him after saying that he knows about his illegal radio broadcast listening hobby. Since Werner is a radio technical expert, he immediately takes care of the problem. Following that, Werner is taken away from his sister off to get an education at Berlin's illustrious National Institute. There, both his instructors and his peers make life difficult for him by first examining him with all of his clothes off to rule out he's a Jew, and then beating the living hell out of him as part of his welcome ceremony. In the present day in France, Werner is told by his superior that his sister will be humiliated and tortured to death if the radio host isn't found. He starts going around the city in search of Marie, and finally the Germans find her home. The officer then asks Werner to enter the house and kill Marie. Werner is reluctant and has no intention of killing her, but the officer threatens her sister. Suddenly, Etienne shows up and Werner shoots the officer. After killing the German soldiers, Werner helps Etienne hide the dead bodies away in a corner. Etienne then leaves Marie a message on the door about the chapters he wants her to read on the radio. Then the men make their way to the French hideout, where Werner explains how a lecturer on the radio offered him hope amidst the chaos of his life and how he trained under the German army to work on radios. Werner explains that the supervisors at the academy saw the genius in him and sent him to France, where he saw the innocent getting murdered. Because of this, he decided to listen to Marie on the radio and not take any action against her. Then Etienne asks Werner to hide inside his basement to wait for another questioning trial by other resistance members. The scene then shifts back in time when Daniel and Marie arrive at Madame Manic's home. As Daniel goes upstairs to meet his uncle, Manic keeps Marie company and makes her some food. Afterward, Marie recognizes her uncle as the professor from the radio, who she has been admiring since her childhood. It is also revealed that Etienne is a World War I hero and suffers from severe panic attacks. Later, Daniel tells the French resistance that he has a jewel in his possession that the Germans desperately want. However, to make sure the Germans do not catch the resistance due to this gem, Daniel plans to go back to Paris, taking the jewel with him. But late at night, he hides the stone in the wooden city he made for Marie. In the present, Rumpel visits a prostitute and tells her about his terminal illness, and that he has been looking for the jewel since the start of the war. He failed to find it in Paris, but his investigations led him to St Malo. The prostitute then promises to give Rumpel the blind girl's address if he will help her leave the country. At the hideout, Werner tells Etienne that he remembers his voice from the radio as well. Soon, the resistance members start questioning Werner. Just as they are going to shoot him, Etienne blocks them from doing that and pleads that Werner is not guilty of any murder. Suddenly, an American bomb hits their hideout, while on the other hand, Rumpel makes his way to Marie's home. Werner survives the bombing, but Etienne is severely hurt. We are taken back in time when Etienne found out about the British broadcasting radio signals that they will attack Germans in France soon. To help the British, Etienne and Marie went to the shore to note down ships' registration numbers while leaving a cardiac patient, Madame Manic, back home. While at the pier and pretending to fish, the duo is approached by German officers, but Marie manages to deceive them. After their work, they return home to find that Manic has died inside the house. At present, Etienne passes away after telling Werner to protect Marie from the Germans. On the other hand, Rumpel has arrived at Marie's home, but she shuts herself away in the attic. Rumpel then repeatedly tries to force her to open the door by threatening to throw the grenade at her. Marie, however, is adamant about not moving. After Etienne's demise, Werner rushes to help Marie out. Rumpel, on the other hand, tells Marie that he caught Daniel in Paris and interrogated him. He explains that even after 3 hours of interrogating, Daniel did not say anything regarding the jewel. So finally, he shot him in the head, making Marie cry in pain of losing her father. Rumpel then uses a grenade to blow open the doorway. Marie, on the other hand, covers her ears with the headphones to save her from getting shell-shocked. On the other hand, Werner keeps running through the city, which is under attack by the Americans, to find his way to Marie. He reaches Marie's home just in time and uses wire from a radio to strangle Rumpel. As Rumpel frees himself from Werner, Marie arrives and shoots him. He falls right in front of the diamond he was looking for. Later, Werner and Marie grow close because of their mutual admiration for the same radio station from their childhood. Werner uses the radio to broadcast a message back to his sister, telling her that he is alive and well, just because of the professor, much to her happiness. Following that, Werner and Marie dance together and share a passionate kiss. Marie advises him to surrender to the Americans now that they have defeated the Germans, saying that at least the Americans will give him a chance, boots, and food. She warns him that if he stays in France, the locals will hunt him down and murder him. They plan to remain in contact with each other with the help of radio. Later, Werner surrenders himself to the Americans, who promptly arrest him. Then Marie wraps the precious gem in a piece of cloth without touching it and walks through the city toward the beach. There, she throws it into the ocean, far away from anyone's reach so that no one can get cursed by it. Thank you for watching the whole video. Which show do you want us to do next? Fill in the comments section below. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, stay fabulous.